We are making a winter classic that you are going to love. Today we are making some delicious Zuppa Toscana, which if you are an American, because this is by no means an Italian recipe, but if you are an American, you guys know that the Olive Garden is known for many things, and one of those things is Zuppa Toscana. Now I'll be honest with you and I'll tell you that when I made this 4 years ago, I had never even had it. But you know, it is delicious. I've tried it since then. It is delicious. The homemade version, it is insanely good. I did make it a few years ago, but I wanted to just give it a bit of a facelift, let's just say. I just wanted to bring attention to it again because it's such a cozy classic and you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? If your little ones don't like greens, keep the kale out. It'll just be a really delicious sausage and potato soup. But we are going to add the greens because to me, it just makes it so delicious. We're gonna start with a Dutch oven. I just turned it on, and when you are cooking bacon, which is going to be the first thing I cook, it's really a good idea to start it in a cold pan. So as the pan heats up, the bacon heats up with the pan, rendering the appropriate amount of fat and crisping up just right. Otherwise, if the pan's really hot, the bacon will crisp up like that, but it won't render all of its fat because it won't have that chance. So while that happens, I have some sausage here. I do love the idea of the mix of sweet and spicy. You can do all sweet or all spicy. If you can find bulk sausage, buy a pound of that. I just never can. Well, I shouldn't say I never can. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So if I can't, I'll just buy a pack of Italian sausage and I will just remove the casing myself. And like I said, I like the idea of some hot and some sweet. I've done it all hot, all sweet. Totally your preference. So I'm going to wait for that bacon to render and get crispy and remove it from the pan. While that happens, I'm going to chop up some onions, celery, garlic, carrots, your usual suspects for a soup base. Bacon out, sausage in, and you're gonna cook this while breaking it apart as much as you can. I did discard the bacon fat, which I know can make some people really mad, but I do feel like when you are cooking with, you can leave a little behind, but when you're cooking with that much bacon fat, in my opinion, my palate is just coated with a layer of fat, and it's just coated with that heavy, greasy bacon feel, and I just don't care for it. But if you wanna saute your vegetables in the bacon fat, go for it. I'm gonna just cook this while crumbling my sausage. I also wanna tell you what else I'm working on. I'm just peeling some potatoes, and I am gonna go ahead and set these aside until I'm ready for them, but I'm gonna slice them thin, and I'll show you when we get there because I don't have any more room on my board anyway. But I'm just gonna babysit my sausage. Once that's done, I'll get that out to a plate as well. Sausage is great, nice large crumbles. I don't want the crumbles to be too small because, you know, I want a good feel when I'm eating my soup. I want it to be good. And now I'm gonna add my onions, my celery, my carrots. I call them the usual suspects. You know, the flavor base. I do need a little bit of oil. The sausage didn't render too much fat, so I'm just gonna add a tiniest little bit. You can see in here, there's like it's not swimming with fat, you know, there's not much in here. I'm gonna go ahead and add this in. And I'm gonna saute that for like 5-7 minutes until the veggies soften. I'm gonna hit them with just a pinch of salt. And then I'm gonna chop up some garlic in the meantime. For the potatoes, something that I find I just like a lot is instead of cutting them into chunks, I like cutting them into thin slices, and what happens is they fall apart. Some of them stay whole, some of them fall apart, and it's just like the right texture. If you know, you know. And I just think that it makes such a difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice them up, and I'm gonna give them a quick rinse. My veggies are almost there. Let me add the garlic to it now and let them cook another minute altogether. Oopsie. This is when you add your stock. For me, you guys know it's just gonna be water with a little chicken bouillon, but you can add any stock that your heart desires. And then we're gonna add a little bit of my favorite, goes into everything because it makes everything better, garlic and herb. Let that get in there. We're gonna add the sauce. You know, I just realized we didn't add the flour. You're supposed to add flour at the very beginning. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll thicken it up with a little cornstarch at the end. Does the same thing. Don't you worry. Add your sausage and your thinly sliced potatoes. You're gonna bring this up to a boil. Let that simmer. Let that just gently bubble away until the potatoes get nice and tender. And then when we're about 10 minutes away, we'll add just a few more things. That is fantastic. It looks great. The soup has been simmering. I cranked the heat up a little bit now, but it's been simmering about 30 minutes. The potatoes are just about fully cooked through. This is when you add your cream. This is when you add your kale. This is Tuscan kale that I've washed and just took out the stem, the thick stem, and I just roughly chopped it. Oh, and your crispy bacon. Get all that in there. Now, remember I told you earlier I forgot to add the flour to the veggies. You can leave it like this. It's a little thin. You can leave it like this unless you add the flour at the very beginning like you should. But I'm gonna let this simmer for like 10 minutes and then at like 8 minutes. And then for a couple of minutes, I'm gonna do a cornstarch slurry, but I'm gonna grab a little bit of water and cornstarch. And once this comes back up to a boil and it boils for a few minutes, we'll add the cornstarch slurry and then we'll pretty much be ready to serve after that. Just adding my little cornstarch slurry just to thicken it a tiny, tiny bit. Although to be honest, it doesn't really need it, but I just like it a little bit thicker. Not a chowder family, but not too thin of a family. Just like a little bit more, you know? I'll let this cook out for a couple minutes and then it's ready to serve. That looks perfect. You see how it's just thickened up a tiny, tiny bit. That's what I want. That is what I'm looking for. And the other thing I'm looking for is to add some freshly grated parm directly into the soup. Had I thought a little bit better, I would have grabbed a piece of my rind. I have a stash of them in the freezer and add it to it. But this is pretty perfect. The broth tastes so delicious and savory and well seasoned. Just divine. Black pepper. Look at that. That is just perfection on every level. Grab some. It's making my mouth water. Oh yeah. That's gorgeous. That's the perfect consistency. It's gonna be hot though, so give me a sec. It's just such a home run. I can't even describe it to you. That broth is everything. It's delicious. It's relatively easy. You can make any adjustments that you want. You can add spinach instead of kale. You can add whatever. It's sublime. Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the full recipe. Hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.